Okay, let's talk about suspensions. We know what suspensions are and how they work from fourth species counterpoint. If you remember, fourth species counterpoint is kind of all about suspensions, right? We have suspensions on nearly every note. What we're doing in 18th century style with suspensions is we can mix them in with everything else. So you can have a suspension pop out wherever you want in a way, but we tend to reserve them for cadences. So at the end of a piece, we might have a nice cadence that takes advantage of some suspensions. The other thing that's different here is that we don't really have to worry about all of the preparation that went into suspensions before. Before, we had preparation, suspension, and resolution. Now, we don't have to worry about the preparation, and we can just go right into a suspension, but it does still have to resolve. So let's look at an example. Here we have a nice couple of suspensions. Let's hear it. Okay, let's label our intervals here. So we start with, so we're in the key of F here. So we have F to A, that's a third. Here we have E to G, that is a third. Here we have D to G. So that is a fourth, so a dissonance here. So that's going to be a suspension, but that's okay. Here we have D to F. That's going to be a third. Here we have C to F. So that's going to be a fourth. So that's a suspension. Here we have C to E. So that's a third. And then F to F. So let's call that an octave. Okay, so our available types of suspensions are the same. So we have 4/3 suspensions, 7/6 suspensions, 9/8 suspensions. Those are all possible. And then in the lower voice, we can have a 2/3 suspension. So let's look at what we've got here. So right here we have a dissonance between these two notes in this spot. So that's a dissonance resolved to a third right there. Okay? And then we have another dissonance here resolved to a third there. So this is a 4/3 suspension. And this is another 4/3 suspension resolving to an octave. So if we wanted to label that, we would write 4/3 up here, and then the same thing here. So that would be a 4/3 suspension, 4/3 suspension. Because of the interval of a fourth resolving to a third, fourth resolving to a third. Okay? So really similar to the way they worked in the past with a couple of exceptions, a couple of changes. And that gives us suspensions. Now remember, this is the cadence. This is the cadence at the end of a piece. So I might not do this in the middle of a composition. But if you heard this and you thought, oh, that sounds like a lot of hymns that I've heard, a lot of hymns end this way, and you would be right. That's exactly what we're talking about, is that hymn style of music which really came into dominance in this with this 18th century style.